Yep, yep. This is part of the reason why I made that video like 2 weeks ago or so. So obviously we gotta talk about the whole VShojo audition thing. And one of the reason why I made the video like last time talking about VTubers and how they kind of got their groups and stuff like that. This is partially the reason why, because I was like really thinking about it. I was like, what really defines like a clique group that people could probably assume is like that or whatever. And immediately my brain went to like, oh, VShojo is like that, right? And even if they're not like that individually, it comes off as that. And you can't sit here and say that it really doesn't, because it does. Especially when you look at the VTuber auditions a lot of the time, and you look at who's in it and who's not in it, right? Now, this is not me sitting here and saying that, oh, you shouldn't audition, you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't do that, or it's a waste of time or stuff like that. No, if you're gonna shoot your shot, shoot it. But don't expect to come out with a W though. Like, you are basically fighting against 1,000 other people, thousands of other people, and you're just one person in that sea of 1,000 people. And let's just keep it very much a stat. They're probably not going to look at 1,000 different audition tapes. Like, let's be absolutely real. When they find their one, they find their one, and that's it. That's essentially how it goes. And the thing is, that normally wouldn't be a problem if they would just choose those talents. But a lot of the time they choose people that's already established names and then go with them. And then when people start getting mad and salty, it's like, yeah, no, there's definitely a solid reason as to why people feel that way, right? Especially with like recently with Amelie getting in, people are just like, wait, why? And granted, Amelie came through with like no audition whatsoever, they were just in talks, but then it also builds a discussion where it's like, wait, so you mean to tell me you was in discussion with this woman for like a year plus or whatever, and essentially you looked at that, but then look at the other auditions that is worthy to also be part of the brand as well. Like, you put that as a solo audition, but then, or at least a solo debut, and you didn't look at like everybody else's work. What type of nonsense is that? And that's kind of, again, the vibe that you get. They have obviously tons of people that are interested within the agency that would like to jump in and just do stuff, but then the way they carry about themselves is easily like how their biggest like detriment can kind of hit them in the face at times, right? Because at this point I'm just waiting on LXOX getting in there. At this point I'm just waiting on it, because she's been hanging around also with like VShojo people too, and I'm just like, yeah, let's just see what happens. Please put her in there at this point, because at this point I already know the moment she gets in there, I'm making a whole ass video about it for sure. For sure, because we all, if you ain't aware, for a lot of this stuff that she has done in the past, please go look at some previous videos on my channel about it, because dude, yeah, she's not a great person. That much I can definitely say. She's really not. If you haven't known, you might need to look into that. But when it comes down to it though, it's just like, yeah, it's just basically feeling like a group full of the popular kids and no one else can get in. That's why I was reading like a whole tweet from Azahara. He was just like, yo, real talk, if you're just gonna have like all these bigger names come through and that's it, literally scrap like the whole audition thing. Like, literally have it to be the popular kids and then dip off with everybody else. And at this point, yeah, that's essentially how it feels and what it does continue to feel like. And then when Amelie eventually, and sadly and unfortunately, is going to get hit with hate and get hit with like people talking mad crap about her and all that type of stuff, it's going to come from this place and this place specifically. And then VShojo is going to get mad at people, but it's like, bro, just do the audition process. Don't waste people's time. Because even if you get in some smaller people, that's better, and people will like, you know, be less mad than just not bring any smaller people in at all, you know? And that's just kind of like the whole dang thing. People be putting in mad time to do these auditions and care to do these auditions, and when you don't have anybody from these auditions to get in at all for real, it's like a waste of time. So basically you're effectively wasting people's time and resources and money and all that type of stuff when it comes to these auditions, when they're not even getting chosen. And it's like, what the hell is this, dude? Which brings me back to the video I talked about like recently with the whole click groups with VTubers and such. And this is again why I say, yo, I'm just a VTuber in spirit, because if I were to also be a part of the group that wanted to be in VShojo as well and audition, did all that stuff, to keep it very much a stack, I would get pretty tired of it too. I would get pretty annoyed as well, right? But here's my whole thing when it comes down to it, is that at this point, at least for me, this is why I would rather just do my own content, build my own channel and stuff like that, versus try my hand at a chance of getting into like an agency or things of sort like that, right? Because the thing is, Amelie doesn't need to be in VShojo. She's just there because they invited her to be there. That's essentially about it. And most people that are, friends with these people, they don't necessarily need to audition. They don't need to. They just get offered an invite and just be there. And most people are just like, if that's the case, just let them be a part of the group and call it a day instead of wasting people's time with the audition. And I agree with that. And when it comes down to it, it's just like, yeah, it just, again, a group full of popular people together, and no one else really is meant to fit there, because a lot of these people come from, obviously friends, and then you got the ex corporation VTubers and stuff like that, and it just doesn't seem fair. It really isn't fair, and that's just kind of how it is. But you know what, again, this is why you build your own brand and your own things. Back when I first started doing content creation, I had many aspirations to meet certain people that I wanted to see, as I grow into being a content creator, if I could actually do it and whatnot. And when it comes down to it, I was thoroughly much like, oh, I gotta meet this person, I want to meet that person, I want to get their attention. And where did that all stem from? Mainly because I tried as a fan trying to, get certain people's attention and stuff like that. It didn't work out for me. And so that's 2% of the reason why I started to really heavily push myself to do content creation, because I was just like, I want to meet these people in some shape or form. Now, nowadays, I don't care about that. If I meet somebody, I meet them. If I don't meet them, whatever. And that's just kind of how it is for me. But it was like a whole goal at one point in time, because it was annoying to not necessarily be, around these people and try to actually get in somewhere. But it doesn't necessarily happen. And now what used to be my goal is to, have them as my goal and such. Now I'm my own goal. Now I don't necessarily feel bad if I just, don't miss the chance. If I miss the chance basically to like meet somebody. Now I'm just like, let me build my own stuff up. Let me build my own community up and things of sort like that. And let me be undeniable in myself. And let me be, the undeniable presence that I know I can be, and then just go hand with it, right? And that's essentially how it is. And if I end up getting someone's attention or something like that, then cool, dope as hell for me. And honestly, I feel like it'll be an easier time if you just, create content and, not necessarily put your eggs in the agency auditioning basket and just make your own content. Because at the end of the day, one, you get more free stuff to do, you get more leniency to do whatever you want to do, and two, you don't necessarily be at the whim of 1,000 other people to hopefully maybe sort of get a chance at, talking to somebody from one of these agencies, or getting close with some people with one of these agencies or whatever, and off the off chance and things like that. Because yeah, it's not necessarily fun to just be the outsider a lot of the dang time. Most people will be outsiders, and it's not necessarily going to be fun. But at the very same time, it's like, you don't need to necessarily chase them as a goal. You can have them as a goal, sure, but the goal really should be you, because at the end of the day, you can be bigger than a dang agency, right? If time has shown us anything, you can very much surpass the people that obviously is like at their level, but then you can go past that if you chose to, if you want to, if things fall into your favor to do so, right? And that's one of the things that I would say for me and my channel keeps me going the way I go. Because yeah, I could easily sit here and just, want to talk to some person or get the attention of somebody, but at the very same time, do I desperately need it? Not necessarily. Like for me personally, I'm not gonna sit here and waste my time doing an audition to maybe sort of get in where I could get in. Instead, I'm just gonna make my own content and then just get in where I fit in personally, right? Because that's kind of how it is. You're not gonna go into content creation and being friends with everybody. That's number one. And there is definitely gonna be obstacles where people are gonna necessarily show their sides of themselves that you didn't see before and things of the sort like that, and it's not gonna be a fun time. But if you manage to go through all of it and somehow, become a bigger name, be yourself, do your own thing. You don't necessarily need to have that, you know need to be around a certain agency or certain things like that. And hell, you could be bigger again than an agency itself. Like, sure, you can still be, wanting to interact with certain people if that's what you want to do, and that's perfectly fine, right? Because if, like, again, if certain people that I wanted to interact with end up saying like, yo, what's up to me, bitch, hell yeah, that's a W in my damn book. But at the very same time, do I desperately need that to prove some type of validation? Or do you need that to prove some type of validation? Not necessarily. Because one thing I definitely learned is that VShojo, Hololive, no matter who it is, they have their set of friends already. You trying to jump into their friend group is damn near pretty much impossible, right? It's pretty much damn near impossible. Because they're not necessarily going to just up and jump into the next new person that just comes through, because there's already tons of things that's running through their minds. Is this person gonna be a jeopardy to my representation and all my stuff that I built up for years and years and all that type of stuff? Like, that's the first couple of things that they're gonna be thinking about when it comes down to it, instead of just like opening up welcome arms and all that type of stuff. There's just a lot of things to consider. There just is. And at that point, it's like, why would I want to be a part of an agency or try to shoot my shot for an agency and things don't go my way, and so I'm just stuck here? Like, that doesn't work out for like that. That's not me. Again, I'm not sitting here trying to say that, oh, this is just a huge just like waste of time. But I am saying that, you could build your own platform, build your own things yourself. And then, once you get to a point where you're undeniable, then yeah, they're gonna probably look at you. They're probably gonna see you and be like, oh shit, who the hell is this person? And all that type of stuff, right? Even if they don't know who the hell you are, I'm pretty certain they'll say something about you in that case, and then you can get what you want, essentially. Like, I think the best example recently has been like Queso, because if you look at Queso, he ain't a part of no, group or anything like that. He's just some dude on the internet that pretty much got the miracle chance to be where he's at, and people took notice, and that's great. Good for him, honestly. And he could be absolutely huge if he decides to be. He can be absolutely bonkers if he wants to be bigger than most people that already is established on the internet, and he's just a new guy on the block, right? So my whole point is, you don't need an agency to basically tell you what your worth is. Much less, you don't need an agency to come through and show you that, this is the only chance I got to be with these type of people, and if I don't do it, everything's a failure. Like, no, that's not how it goes. Again, if you post your audition and you don't get picked, that doesn't mean you're bad. It just, one, it could be something that they're not looking for, and then two, it could just be the fact that there's just so much competition, and you're just one person out of thousands of people. And again, if you think you're worth something, why don't you put your money where your mouth is and essentially build your own self up? Because if you do that, then at that point, you blow up and you get bigger and all that type of stuff. No one can say you didn't do anything. No one can say that you needed something, or you needed to I guess like ride the coattails of something or someone, because you did all that stuff on your own. And that's honestly, I'd argue, more valuable in my eyes than, I guess, winning at just being in an agency, personally, because you persevered, right? And some people get it quicker than others, but you persevered through all the trials and all the tribulations that you went through to build up your own name, and you did it your way, and you did it how it on your own, essentially. That's way more of an applause and an achievement than, just getting lucky by an agency. At least in my personal mind. That's just me. But yeah, I just really wanted to talk about this real quick, because it is just like a giant slap to the face to many people that really wants to jump into VShojo genuinely, and then only for them to just pick some bigger person and just say call it a day. Because it ain't right. It definitely does feel like a waste of time. And it just does basically feel like a slap to the face of people that want to join. And again, that's one of the reasons why I'm just like, you know what, I'll just make my own content, I'll do my own thing, and basically, if I get what I get, that's perfectly fine with me. And if I be able to become undeniable my dang self, that's just, again, another good reason to build your own content. Again, don't put all your eggs in one basket or hope in one thing or hope in one agency. Definitely bet on yourself, because if you don't do that, you can very much, I don't know, like lose out on the chance of you could being something in this space. And if you don't necessarily cash in on that, you never really will know. So that's like a whole nother thing. But that's really what I want to say for this one. So hopefully you did enjoy. If you did, be sure to like, share, subscribe, hit the bell notification on the way out. Also follow on the socials, and like to donate to the channel, Kofi and Cash App is available as well. And until then, it's your boy Jay, signing off. Have a blessed day.